Welcome back, everyone, to the Sphere of Reality. I'm Toye Oyelese, and, well, before I go further, a quick thank you to those who've written in with questions about our last episode on resonance. I read them all, I really do. Now, today's episode is about something almost everyone asks about at some point: relationships. But let's set the record straight before we get lost in the poetry of human connection, yeah? Relationship isn't the starting point. It's not foundational in this framework. It comes later. See, if you picture that sphere, the one we keep talking about, what's most basic is actually you, alone at the center, conscious, aware, but, well, solitary. The sequence goes: first there's your sphere, with its own boundary. Nothing outside, no connection. Then there's action. Maybe you try something new, or, in my case years ago, you open a wellness clinic and start, sort of, fumbling your way through complementary medicine. It's only when you act, when you move past intention and actually do something, that your sphere expands. And as your boundary grows, your surface area, so to speak, gets bigger. Only then, after you've pushed that edge out, does contact become possible. That's the real threshold. You might recall from previous episodes how action leads to expansion, and expansion increases your chances of making contact, not by sheer luck, but by geometry. When I first started at that clinic in Kelowna, I found real relationships with my staff and patients only came after weeks, sometimes months, of repeated small actions. Mutual trust, that sense of I see you and you see me, only happened after our spheres actually touched. We all stayed polite until we'd shared enough moments. Until, for example, the day a patient brought in homemade bread for my nurse, or when I nervously confessed something personal that humanized me. Those were the moments contact became relationship. So, relationship isn't some magic starting point. It's what emerges after you've put your world into motion and made real contact at the boundary. Now let's talk about what actually happens once that contact is made. Not every relationship that forms is, rainbows and warm fuzzies. There are really three possible outcomes each time our spheres meet. First, there's what I call a bad relationship. Maybe toxic is the word that's used these days, but that word gets thrown around a lot. I prefer depleting. Imagine you're in a job partnership. You give, you keep covering shifts, but it's always a one-way street. You leave those interactions feeling less than, shrunk. No mutual support, just extraction. The result? Your sphere actually contracts. You feel smaller, like you have less to offer each day. Second, the balanced, or what you'd simply call a good relationship. Think of that friend you can depend on, the colleague who always covers for you when life throws a curveball. You both benefit, both get your needs met. The flow isn't dramatic, but it's steady, fair. Your sphere doesn't grow, maybe, but it doesn't shrink either. It's maintained, sustained, reliable. It's like watering a plant just enough, not withering, not blossoming, just healthy. And then, these are rare, but precious, there's the synergistic relationship. That's when, together, you accomplish far more than either of you could solo. Years ago, I worked on a multidisciplinary pain management team with a clinical psychologist and an occupational therapist. Hesitant at first, but then, wow, our combined efforts led to real, measurable breakthroughs for pain patients that none of us could have achieved alone. After every meeting, I came away feeling lifted, energized. Both our spheres expanded. More possibility, more reach, more life. So let me put a gentle question out there for you. Think back. When did you last feel your own sphere expand or shrink after a particular interaction? Did you feel depleted, steady, or, if you're lucky, did you walk away feeling like the world got just a bit bigger? These are not transactional tallies, but the lived, felt outcomes when we come into real exchange with other human beings. This all brings me to what I think is, well, both the most powerful and the most risky part of human existence. Why do the right relationships seem to open up the world, sometimes overnight? And why do the wrong ones leave us so much smaller than when we started? Let me share a personal metaphor here. I started a small photo gallery in my clinic, just a few prints on the wall at first. But then I worked with a local artist, and it became a collaboration. We didn't just put up pictures. Suddenly the space felt alive. Staff and patients noticed, and the conversations shifted. Somehow, sharing the creative process did more than decorate the place. It built new connections among my whole team, and even deepened the care we gave. I hadn't planned for it, but in that synergy, my own sphere expanded. The whole atmosphere did. So I want to leave you with this. Take an honest look at the relationships in your life, whether professional, personal, or somewhere in between. Are they contracting your world? Are they just maintaining the status quo? Or are they helping you grow? Sometimes it's not obvious until you step back and really, quietly, reflect on what's changing on the inside. That's all for today. Next time, we'll pull together these threads: action, expansion, contact, relationship, and show how the whole chain works in practice. Keep your questions coming. I do love reading them. I'm Toye Oyelese, and this is the Sphere of Reality.